It's Lil Baby.
Yeah, usually guess I gotta warm up, but I'm dealing with like a bunch of professionals, so it's like right into it.
We professional.
Welcome to episode 51 of Conversations with Chai. I'm your host, Ihram Chowdhury, aka Lil Baby Ron. Today, I got such a special episode. I got Wolf Taylor halfway up. I got John Scafiddi Jr. Journey. I can't even say all the time, guys, because we got too many guests. I got my boy Eli from DailyRapUpCrew.
Mm-hmm.
Fellas, appreciate y'all doing this.
Thanks for having me. Hell yeah, I'm excited.
No, I'm so excited. I was like, these are like the episodes that I live for, right? Like, just like I knew, like I was like, we're gonna cook.
Yeah, we're gonna kill it. Yeah.
But we were talking off mic about the Alex Cooper deal because I was like, this episode. I always say like episodes come exactly when I need it, and I don't plan it out like that. It just happens that I get it when I need it, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, I need this episode. I needed this episode today. Whenever we planned it, I didn't. But I was telling Wolf on like Monday, I was feeling real down about the whole content thing, right? Like I basically tweeted out and paraphrasing like the content boom is over, the shit is fried. And then like I think the next day, Tuesday or Wednesday, me and Wolf were working on something, and then we heard about the Alex Cooper deal, and I was like, oh,
wait,
shit.
Explain the Alex Cooper deal, because I'm not really super tuned in.
Yeah, I kind of want to know where your head was at when you said, like, did something happen where you were like, content is dead? Where was your head at? Because I know you've been super focused.
I've been focused, but I think when I say content is dead, I think, like, because, I believe we're, like, in a recession, kind of.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I think the first things in recession to go are usually advertising deals, marketing budgets get lower, right? So I'm thinking, like, if that shit is fried, is it slow for creatives? Because this is a luxury, right? People focus on, we talk about like the hand-to-hand deals, like $10 for Patreon, right? But if somebody's focus is like, how am I going to provide my home?
It's the first thing going.
That's the first thing.
So you would think.
All those subscriptions are out.
Yeah.
Should be. 100%. Should be.
Should
like
be.
that.
It is for me, it should.
Yeah.
Then people start to, they start to like see what's more of a priority. Like, you know what I mean? Like this Patreon might not be as much of a priority as Netflix's subscription or whatever the case is. Like,
right? Like, it's like, like I'm paying $10 to see an extra like 8 hours of whoever your favorite is, right? Like, honestly, I'm a podcast fan, right? But it's like, am I really getting 8 hours of like a $10 worth of I don't know.
Get eggs and water and whatever else the fuck I need from Trader Joe.
I can see Joe Budden clips on Axe fucking Instagram.
I get the.
I'm gonna just see him. Period.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to. I could, but I don't have to. I could get the gist of it in 15, 30 seconds on. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which then makes me fearful because like if that's the case, right, then the creatives kind of have to get creative about where the money's coming from. That was my thought process Monday because I was like, major corporate shit over. But then you see the Alex Cooper deal, 125 mil for what, 3 years, 4 years?
Crazy.
And the more important thing that Joe kind of pointed out was profit share. Profit share for SiriusXM, it's like in every car.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and obviously, like, like none of us are at Alex Cooper level of whatever, right? But it shows you where the market is.
For sure.
Still high.
Shows where, and if you're, and this is the point that Joe is like, I'm only talking to 6 of y'all because the rest, it doesn't apply to the rest of you podcasters. Right. But he was like, if you're aspiring, like if you're where we're at, that could be the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you just have to, understand the analytics. So, you know what I mean? Like obviously, you said it was Sirius or
Sirius, yeah.
They seen the numbers and they can see obviously how they could profit off of that. Not everybody's gonna be able to reach that audience to bring in those type of analytics where somebody's gonna be like, you know what, I could invest $100 million or whatever the case is. So I think it's all about building up your following organically. Like, you know what I mean? I think to me, sometimes people get so focused on trying to go viral, you know what I mean?
For sure.
They don't really try to cultivate their own audience organically, like,
They want that overnight success. That shit don't happen overnight. It looks like it does. From where we're at on a social media standpoint now. I see everybody talk about this shit. It looks like one day you got one follower and then you go to this person's page maybe a year from now and you forget it was a year. You're like, oh shit, they got 50K.
Right.
Where the fuck did that come from? They got lucky. Like, nah, bro, you might have posted 365 days in a row. You just didn't realize it.
Exactly,
you know what I mean? Right. So it's all about consistency and building up. I see it in building a brand. I see it in being part of a pod. It's important. You got to love this shit. That's the number one thing.
I think though, but then like we're talking about like obviously like the leverage up to having a following that high, right? But then Wolf brought up like a good thing like off mic too, right? Where he was like, like being able to move like $10 of inventory to 1,000 people is still valuable,
100%.
right? Like we all like
100%.
you have a whole clothing brand,
Yeah,
right? Like you have other revenue streams, right? Because like you're just pushing product
Yeah.
one way or the other.
Yeah. I don't make money off the pods that I do. I was telling him when we walk from the bathroom, like I might residually sell more clothes from the pods, but like specifically from the pods, I do it because I love it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's what you gotta love this shit. In order.
Yeah.
But my thing is she's getting paid $40 million a year. I would love to see the books on how serious things. Oh wow, we can give up 40 mil. We're gonna make money on that.
But
That's insane.
But I
You know
think
how much money that is.
But I think that's why like it's important for us at that level to understand if that's her bag, right?
Yeah.
So what is the value for everybody else that you can move? Maybe you can't move like 3 mil, but you can move like 30,000, 40,000
Yeah.
to see a product.
Yeah.
Because like imagine like I have somebody. You said it earlier, right? If I sold 1,000 products for $10 a pop, that's valuable.
Nice.
Valuable to me.
Hell yeah.
Especially a small business.
Hell
like
yeah.
like
For sure.
your
That's like-
overhead
that's-
is you don't got
that's
employees,
great
so like
money
that
right
in
there.
itself
Great
is
money.
valuable.
Yeah. That's all I've ever really wanted. You know, like I think it's beautiful that like the $1 million deals is being given. But first of all, with Alice Cooper, it makes 100% sense this move because literally I just looked up a stat. 60% of podcasts, 120 million monthly listeners listen to their shit in the car. 60%.
Okay, that makes sense.
You know what I mean? So when you think about it, like shifting the attention to what people are they already listen, and it makes sense. Like we in New York, so a lot of us is on foot, train. But like if I'm somewhere else, it's like I'm mobbing in the V. You know what I mean? Listening to my podcast, maybe I got a 30-minute commute or whatever. I'm playing 30 minutes of who I like the most, like you were saying a minute ago. You know, so it's like it makes 100% sense for her to do this, and she got the leverage, bro.
Yeah, that's the thing.
She got the leverage.
She got the leverage.
You know what
You
I
got
mean?
Joe Rogan doing 4-hour pods. The only time I'm gonna be able to really listen, I'm not sitting on my couch. I'm a visual guy. I like to watch.
Me too.
pods,
Yeah,
right? I'm
me
on the
too.
other 40%. I don't listen to the pods.
For sure, I'm definitely the other 40.
That's just me. I'm gonna be honest. I like to visualize. I want to see the people I want to be. It's more relatable if I could see you.
For sure.
But like if you're dropping a 4-hour pod, like I watch Flagrant. Flagrant's the only one that I might sit there for an hour and a half at a time
For sure.
and watch it. But other than that, Joe Rogan's dropping a 4-hour pod. Yo, bro, you're lucky if you're getting fucking an hour out of me. Maybe you'll get me if I'm driving. I'll get an hour out. But like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like if it's a long commute, then yeah.
But that's where you're getting people, and that's where like we were talking about it. That's where like the visual element sometimes it matters, and sometimes like it doesn't. Right? It depends like who you're trying to hit. Because somebody like Rogan, right? It's like, I'm just gonna his listenership is gonna be one that just like probably like listens,
no matter what.
Yeah.
right? But like again, like the people on this pod are probably not a good example because we all probably like into the aesthetics and the
for
art
sure.
form of the pod, right? Because like you look at a product and you're like, oh, this is a beautiful
sure.
product.
Yeah, for sure.
Whereas like Joe's, it's like a simple setup, but like again, the conversations are carrying it. It's like why you're
The
listening
simplest
to the pod.
setup too. Now that I think about it, they're
Very
at a table across from each other.
Yeah.
Nothing like
Stop
it's not
plugging
a
nothing.
super like
Yeah.
expensive set. And sometimes it don't even make sense to do. You know, people be like, oh, 4-hour pod. If your viewer retention is not there and they drop off like maybe 30 minutes in, nobody heard the rest of that. Like, so advertisers, the analytics, they're going to look at it. Where's the viewers, where they dropping off at? Or they only dropping off 30 minutes in to a 4-hour podcast. Then the AdSense is not going to make sense to them. Like, you know what I mean? They want that viewer retention rate. That's what all these platforms want.
I learned that the hard way. I took a deal. Again, this is like me being very transparent about business, right? I took a deal for a back end read on this pod.
Okay.
And I was like, damn. And I didn't get a re-up on the contract, right? And I was like, oh, like that's honestly probably because I didn't bring the value that I thought I was bringing by having a back end podcast. Like I don't have the retention like that to justify that. And I genuinely felt bad because like
That's important, bro.
yeah, when I do business with somebody, I want to make sure that they win too.
Yeah,
That's
of course.
important.
So it's like, oh, I sold you a back end pod because I thought this was my price. Arrogant based off of the numbers. Not even, but retention.
Yeah.
If I'm only getting 6% of my already pretty small audience,
Yeah.
only to the end, you're not getting the value. Even if whatever I'm charging you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's leverage at the end of the day. Like your pod is only valuable depending on the community you have access to. That's the only reason why somebody would ever want to do a deal with you. Like I want a water collaboration with somebody, right? Because that's just what I'm into. I'm vegan and shit like that. I'm into my health. So if a water brand came to me, if I wanted to go to a water brand and be like,
What's your favorite water? I just want to know. I want to know what's your water company. Like your favorite water. You walk into the deli, if I don't got this water, I'm walking out because I know what mine is.
Unfortunately, the deli don't got it. It's the one in the green bottle. What's it? Mountain Deer Mountain.
All right, I'm an Evian guy. I love
Yeah,
Evian. I'm an Evian.
but like if I go to a water company, I'm like, okay, y'all sponsor the brand. The only reason why they gonna do it is if I have access to a community that they don't have access to. That's the only reason it's gonna happen. And if I don't have that, then it was like, fuck your numbers. Like I do great numbers. I can't make a promise to no company because realistically, They're just people who are like curious about what I'm doing, but they're not actually part of my actual community. Like they're not family members that's gonna move with me wherever I go. And if you got people like Alice Cooper got people that's gonna go wherever she tell them to go. If she tell like a group of people in Iowa, like go rent out every room in a hotel or something like that.
Yeah.
She got a great,
She has
following. She has
like,
power to do that though. If you can do that, anybody gonna break bread with her as a company.
How did she even get there is what I want to know. Because she was the first one? Like in the women's space? Like how did she? Because listen, all respect. I watch it. I don't think there's anything proprietary.
No, it's nothing amazing about the shit.
You know what I'm saying? Like all respect, good for you.
Yeah.
But like, how did this happen?
You have to think that she had 3 of the greatest business deals of all time. Yeah, you know her story?
Vaguely,
Yo,
yes.
okay,
yes,
listen to
yes,
this.
yes.
She had 3 of the greatest business deals of all time. She does a sizzle reel with about the show.
Mhm.
Barstool owner Portnoy picks it up,
Yeah.
offers them a contract. Like they're not because they're like he asked her. She's like, "Yo, you did this?" And she's like, "Yeah." Like just you? Yeah. Okay. Gives him a contract. She brings her co-host along, $70K a month, I think something. Sorry, $70K a month.
Yeah,
$70K a year to do the show. Rookies. I mean, she was like
I vaguely know
rookies.
this part. Yeah.
Rookies. Then fast forward, they like re-upped, whatever, and then Portnoy basically, they had a split with Sophia Franklin, her co-host,
Uber Court's here.
because her co-host boyfriend was like, "Yo, I think you're getting jerked around money-wise."
Yikes.
And
He
then
was like a big time producer, I think, somewhere.
yeah,
You know,
no,
something.
HBO.
Yeah.
HBO, and then basically came around. Alex Cooper went to Portnoy and was like, "Yo, I still want to do the contract." Portnoy's like, "Bet." Signs her. So now you own 100% of the thing. Because Portnoy's deal was like, "Yo, you get your entire IP back
Oh my God.
after the year or whatever.
That's important.
That's
like,
very
that is
important.
You get the entire IP back, the entire catalog,
Crazy.
right?" So does her year, Spotify deal, 60 mil, and then now
Look,
3 years
she
later,
doubled it.
Yeah.
She doubled it. She
Yeah.
gets the best guests, and I get it. I know that's part of it. Like the guests, she gets everybody.
Yeah.
Like even I watched a Portnoy episode.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what the fuck they gonna talk about? I know they're gonna
Yeah.
make a back and forth about something.
Yeah.
Sure.
But that's what's insane. I think like we're not seeing it because maybe because we're too close to the space. Like I was telling Wealth, like when you Google her on go on Wikipedia, it says like the Gen Z Barbara Walters. Because we look at her like, oh, she's a podcaster, right?
Yeah.
But she's going to be so much bigger than that. Look, when you think about like the conversations she's having, who she's having access to, right? Like she did Simone Biles during the Olympics.
Yeah, but you know what's interesting? Before she was in the space, they looking at her like the Gen Z Barbara Walters. She got her shit popping to talking about sex.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that's like to your question. It was like, where did it begin? Like it began with them being. I'm gonna just be honest. How many? It was 2 girls.
Yeah, Sophia and Alex. Yeah.
2 white girls talking about sex.
Yeah.
And you think about it, that's
Yeah.
profitable. Same way the Hawk
Good-looking
Tui,
girls too.
good looking girls, the same way the Hawk Tui girl, it's like scaling to all the way to the top. And you
That's
got to
cra-
think
that's
to yourself,
crazy. It's crazy.
why
Yeah.
though? What did she do?
Yeah. But
What
she
does
has
she do?
access to a certain demographic
Yeah.
that
Absolutely.
spends money. Like
Absolutely.
women
Absolutely.
in America tend to spend money.
Yeah.
So
Right.
you know.
But again, like I get the sentiment, right? But I'm like, yo,
I'm just
It's
saying
a
that's
bit-
how I pop.
it's
She
but it's,
leveraged it from that position.
Of course, she had to take it to
the
another
rest
level.
of
That
it.
takes a
No,
little bit of skill,
right.
for sure.
and we haven't seen that. Like we don't even know if they're gonna exist in like a year or two.
You're right.
Is this sustainable? Like, yo, because that's somebody making a business deal with that girl,
Yeah.
right? That's somebody, and if it works,
Mhm.
amazing, you get another one.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't,
See ya.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you made $3 million for 2 years, and you probably
Brandon is so important because this dude, Ronaldo, I think he just made a YouTube
sick.
the other day and already gained like 20 million
Come on,
subscribers like in a day. Like you get what I'm
different.
saying? Because he has
Ronaldo.
such a cult following. People
Yeah.
just wanna
Leverage, bro.
yeah.
So my thing is when I think about these deals, regardless of how you're gonna get money in your podcast space, build the leverage first. Like I look at this like your J. Cole and Kendrick and Drake in the beginning. You know what I mean? Like core audience first. Like J. Cole does not apply by the same like
Right.
radio politics as Drake does, and he doesn't have to.
yeah.
He doesn't have to.
Doesn't have to.
He don't
And he's,
care.
and he's still larger
He
than
might be on a
life.
city bike right now outside rolling.
Bro,
around.
somebody
Probably,
literally
most
just sent me a
likely.
video of
Most
this
likely.
nigga on a city bike.
Come on, bro.
No bullshit.
But you know what I think is interesting about what you just said? Because I watched The Shop, right? And I forgot her name. And I saw her on the roast of Tom Brady for the first time.
Okay.
She's a comedian, right?
Okay.
Nikki Glaze.
Oh,
No.
Jaeen?
Yeah, the black woman.
Oh, no, not her.
She's
no,
bald.
no,
and
no,
she's
no.
bald, right? She's a lesbian.
So, I don't
Oh,
but
I know who
forgot her
exactly who you're
name.
talking about. Yeah,
She's
this was-
great. This is
yeah.
the first time I had seen her was the roast of Tom Brady. And then she was on The Shop with
Okay.
forgot who she was on Start, but whatever. She said, I don't care about everybody. I care about finding my million people.
Do you hear me? And they go back to that 1,000 again. We getting $100 from or whatever.
I find my million people to spend 50 cents with me.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? I don't need
100%.
20 million people to spend $10.
Come on.
I only need my million people. I'm going to focus directly on. I don't even need a million people. Like you said, 100,000 people spending 50 cents with me.
Yo,
you know what I'm saying?
Yo, remember when Nipsey did his Proud to Pay thing?
Yeah,
he was selling,
bro.
he was selling
Genius, bro.
Shit, bro.
And he was probably making like he was selling
Like a $1,000. It was like
like
a
$1,000 album.
The first one was 100. Then he doubled back with the 1,000.
yeah, so Nipsey did a $1,000 album, right?
You know we sold out.
And he sold out. And he was like, yo, that was the most profitable thing I did in my entire career.
Yeah, bro.
It's crazy.
On a single lick.
Yeah, bro.
Because sometimes these
Leverage.
people try to equate like
Leverage, bro.
the followers. Like this is why we see artists with millions of followers but struggling to sell 20K in their first week because not everybody is that core million or whatever the case is. Like,
it just look nice. And
yeah.
To elaborate on Nipsey even further, like Nipsey was independent until he could get the deal that he wanted, right? But when the first time he tried to get the deal that he wanted with Def Jam or whoever, he couldn't get it because he didn't have the leverage, bro. He didn't have it at first.
Yo, I'm gonna tell you something that Wolf said off mic. Wolf said that was that hand to hand because what he's talking about is like a real hand to hand transaction, right? Wolf said that was a real Southern thing, and I was like, damn, you just gonna leave New York out like that?
It's not a New York thing.
It is though.
It's not.
What are we talking about specifically?
Like so, I'm saying like
he's like going to
talking about selling like
selling
records out the back of your truck type shit. Like,
that's not a New York City thing. I'm not saying New York City people have not adopted it.
Nah,
but, like,
no.
Nah,
because if we
bro,
gonna say
The
hip hop
Rock
started in New
like
York,
that.
they were selling records out the back of their
and
trunk.
who you think
like,
they
you know
got
what I'm
that
saying?
from? Where you think that came from?
That was
If New York invented the
I
style,
can
like
see what you're talking about because I could equate it to the J. Cole thing, right? J. Cole's from the South. He was like, yo, I'm not going to be able to get my biggest market here.
Right.
What I'm going to do, I'm independent. I'm going to go to St. John's in Queens.
Right.
And I'm going to trap out there. And I'm going to use New York, which is the biggest market, to get my deal.
Right.
You're already in New York. We already are built to think like this. New York is such a conglomerate. The corporate's already here. I don't need to be independent here. I have everything that I need right here. Let me go find it.
And
but if
that's
I'm
just
from
the
some
truth.
small town, Fayetteville, North Carolina,
That's not a
I can't
slight.
figure it out.
I guess we have a different
so I kinda-
understanding of independent because to me that is independent.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like again, like we're talking about the same thing because I am right now an independent thing. Do I eventually want to like leverage up if the opportunity presents itself?
Yeah.
Yes.
Nah, but
I want to be still. You know what I'm saying? I'm still independent right
independent.
now.
I'm just so more context real quick, right? So like I'm saying it in the sense of like when we talk about Alice Cooper get this big deal, right? I was saying I never gave a fuck about getting a deal like that anyway because I'm from the South. Southern people have never been part of the bigger conversation. Like there are no resources and institutions you can become a part of. Like you can meet any person you can meet the player of any major establishment in New York City, in any place, at a bar, on the train, on the street. You can't do that in the South. Like you will never just I just seen Mano on the street the other day. I ran into A$AP Rocky 4 times. I've ran into Tyler the Creator. I've ran into Action Bronson, heroes of mine. That will never happen in the South. You know what I mean? And that's just like a byproduct of like the machine that is New York City or LA, which is different, but you get what I mean though. So like what I'm saying is like when I think about Alice Cooper, I was like, I never gave a fuck about getting $100 million from nobody. I was always going to do what you said the comedian said to do, which is like get my 100 or 1,000 people, get a couple dollars off of them, just a couple. You know what I mean? Because it's not about greed. Just get a couple dollars and then I can sustain and provide for me and my family.
Grow on its own from there.
Which is the only reason. So that's what I mean when I say independent. Like literally like Master P had to be who inspired Jay-Z, right? To become Rockefeller and shit like that. But like I had to sell it out the trunk because wasn't no labels down here looking for talent and nobody was gonna sign me. It wasn't going in that sense. Because you are independent. You know what I mean? I just needed to clear it up. Like,
I get where you come from.
Nah.
So we like said, when you in New York and you go down the block and you got 8 different record labels all on.
Literally,
like, you know
bro.
what I'm saying? Like,
I could run into the nigga who go into the top floor of the office. I could catch him getting a bagel. Like, yo, let me holler at you real quick. Let me just rap to you and give my 30-second best verse I got. That's not happening in the South. There's no resources.
I got you.
But I'm still defending you. Yeah, but so I get that, but because of that reason, it ends up being like in here, like you gotta really like New Yorkers, like you gotta really compete.
Yeah, no, you have
because everybody has that access. Like
you got to be able to separate yourself.
No, I agree, bro.
100%.
I agree. Every product I see that's similar to a New York City product, the New York City product always look and sound better, even at where it's at.
100%.
Like the five.
Because you have to.
Yeah.
It's like, you know,
It's too
you know what I
competitive,
equate
like,
it to? It's competitive, but it's so watered down and saturated. And we were just talking about social media, how we met. It's like social media, whatever the fuck you want, whatever you need, go to YouTube, go to Instagram, you can find it.
That's a fact.
Everybody is there. But the days of when Michael Jackson was coming out on stage and people were fainting because they knew that this was probably going to be the only time we got to see this motherfucker do his thing.
Yes.
Now I can go open up my phone.
You get so much access
if I want
to
to see
them,
Drake real quick, I saw him in Radio City in 2009. I can go back and see it right now if I want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a little bit different, and you need to be able to figure out how to separate yourself.
Yeah.
The only way to do that is by being the most fucking talented, I guess, right?
But I again, like I think the unique thing though is like you find your niche audience.
Yes.
Yeah.
That still cares that rapidly.
For sure.
Yeah,
Like I agree. The days of the mega store where because there's so much because of internet, because of socials, right? Like it's a full meritocracy. Whether again, are certain people like privileged and all of that? Yeah, but it's a full meritocracy. And what attention can you consume? You were saying that the other day, right? You were like, yo, as a podcast, you're not competing against just podcast listeners. Yeah. You're competing against
everything.
Everything. Your favorite rapper, your favorite brand,
everything.
You're competing against every single person for exactly the same thing. The ability to get attention and then the ability to move said product.
Hold that attention.
To hold that.
And that's why when you get some attention as a podcaster, you can't let it, you can't be jaded about it. Like my audio streams are like not really that big. Like my clips perform decent, but the audio streams are like really low. You know what I mean? And I've been doing my pod for a year now. I'm on year 2. They still low, but like when I look at them numbers, I have to make sure that I remind myself to appreciate this. Like even if it's 80 people took time to not do the other shit that deserve their time way better. People who have worked their thing to a way more professional level is more deserving of their time. They get their time to me. That's exceptional. Yeah. That's exceptional. And if you can do 80, you can do 80,000. That's just mathematically, that just makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Nah, I think that's like, it's a really good. And I think like even the more physical part of it is like, I think about like how many people have you said hi, like I've said hi to or DM'd
Facts.
because of that.
All the time.
I'm like, yo, I'm a stranger in the middle of fucking New York. You could have messaged anybody in the world. You literally have access to message anybody in the world. And you messaged me.
But it's also like you get 1,000 views and you look at it like, oh, it's not a lot. But if you put 1,000 people in a room.
Come on, bro. I say that all the time.
Yeah, no, Wolf definitely do be
I say that all the time. 1,000 people in this room, I'd be shaking right now.
Yo, you wouldn't be fitting. We wouldn't even be here. You know what I mean? So it's crazy.
That's
palms are sweaty, you know, palms spaghetti, all of that.
Yeah, bro, that's the better way to look at it.
You know what? The one thing I wanted to bring up, having such professional content creators in the room that I think is super bittersweet, is that the only content that really flies for me on the pod is when I'm super transparent. Like I'm talking super vulnerable. Like I'm about to cry. You know what I'm saying? And that's really hard to do.
You know why?
I understand that.
It's really hard to do, but you want to keep doing it because you're like, fuck, this is working. But not everybody
especially with that. It's like, you can't be giving it up that raw every time.
Every time. You know what I'm saying?
But
you want to because it works.
But what you're saying though is that you're saying transparency, right? But I'm saying it's because the product that you're putting out is so real. But that can also be other emotions. It doesn't gotta be like, yo, just it could be like, yo,
100%.
when something is real, like, and you can transmute that through, it's like, oh, like you've caught the audience, right? Because it's so real. Because we're so used to, I think we're saying because there's such like a excess of content, a lot of it starts to become like watered down. It starts to feel like, oh, it's the same thing. So when somebody is real in any sense, we catch that in our eye. Why do you think that Hawk Tuah girl blew up? Because in the moment, everybody's like, oh, that girl's like so like, like it's like so unique and fun, right? It was a real moment and it blew up because of that. Obviously now everybody's turned on her because they're all like, oh, now you have the machine and she loses that appeal. But I think
what people don't understand is that for these platforms, like I talk to Wolf all the time about the algorithm. Each platform has their own algorithm, and they look for key different things. Obviously, viewer retention, engagement, how often you share things. So again, when you have content like the podcast we do, it provokes a certain negative reaction out of people where it gets them triggered, where they will go in the comment section, engage with it, they'll share it, whatever the case, because it provokes a certain emotion out of it. And I think that's what you're saying is your realness is provoking a certain emotion out of people that makes them want to share the content. You know,
well, it's what Dana White said on the shop. I think it might have been on that same episode I was just talking about. He tells the fighters all the time, if you walk out and they cheer, great. If you walk out and they boo you, great. If you walk out and they don't say nothing.
Yeah.
Yo,
problem.
that's the only religion you should follow in podcasting to me. You know what I mean? Because so many podcasters are victims of putting content out and nobody say nothing.
Yeah.
And the reason why they say nothing because you're not speaking to emotions at all.
Yeah.
And you have to.
Yeah.
So like you being hold real quick. So you being transparent like that. So that doesn't work for me when I haven't been strong enough to try that yet. You know what I mean?
Point. Yep.
And I literally know that I haven't. But I understand that works for you for the same reason my thing works for me, for the same reason his thing works for him, in the sense of like we appeal to people's emotions.
Yeah.
Once you appeal to, no matter what emotion it is, relatability, that's the only metric you should ever be going for as a podcast.
Most of the people that watch Mayweather fight, they watch them to
see him lose.
Like, you know, they want to see him lose.
Yeah. Oscar De La Hoya just talked about that on Shannon's pod.
Right.
It's like, how many people you think, all the people who watch Floyd, about 80% of them were watching to see him lose.
Right.
He never lost. They were just hoping that motherfucker, but it would never happen. Man. But they watched.
Those are always like back to like, what is everybody's like, yo, this gets me like the most. Because I know like yours is transparency, right? Yeah. Mine is like, if I'm like arrogant or angry.
Oh yeah, that's gonna get it going every time.
Yo, every time I see it immediately, right? Like the ones anytime I'm talking like my cash
popping your shit,
I'm talking about cash shit. It's immediately like I'm like, oh, this is about to run up, right?
But it's crashing always, out. People love to crash out.
But it's so funny because it's like, yo, like it's like I'm like, yo, like I'm just really like,
I'm just like this.
I'm just really like this, right? It's like not even like yo, I'm trying to do it because I would never, right? Because you would be able to see that too. I like wholeheartedly believe that shit too, right? And like again. You feel something, even if it's anger that, oh, I'm not that, or if it's inspiration that, like, yo, he is that. Because I've gotten both sides of that coin too. The people that are like, oh, like excited to see, like, oh, he's crashing out. I also got the other side, like, yo, like, I'm so glad that you be confident talking your shit on behalf of the creators because, like, yo, I need that. I'm always like, you know, timid and all that. And yo, you don't think I'm always timid and shit too? Like, yo, you don't think that comes in? Like, I'm always, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm always outside of when I talk this cash shit here, I do feel it at times. Yeah. But I've also told, Wolf's been here since like day one, right? I've told y'all when I feel like, yo, I don't have it.
It's important.
When I don't have it, right? Like I feel that all the time. Every other day, I'm like, damn, am I still doing this shit?
Or even the fact when you do post something that you feel is super dope and you post it online and it don't get the reaction, don't get the views, don't get the likes. Now you feel like, damn, like this is what I really want to do. Like, that's people don't talk about that. Like that. That's a part of a depression or stress that brings on to that is like, damn, should I really want to do this? Continue to do this? Like, you know what I mean? So,
yeah, because like, although like I believe what Will's saying that the gratitude of the people who are tuning in and who are hitting you, like, yo, I always think about how many people I've gotten to meet because of podcasting, and that alone is a blessing to me. Absolutely. But again, like when reality's hitting, like, yo, like I gotta keep the lights on here. Like again, back to this being a business at times, right? It's like, yo, I gotta keep the lights on here. I gotta keep this shit like going because I love it.
Because that's the bittersweet part. I was just talking to somebody about this. When you get to the point where you're doing your creative act full time, you start to, it's bittersweet because you need to also start looking at it like, okay, what am I going to create that's going to pay the bills? Come on. But like, I also want to create something that's dope. Now, of course, what pays the bills, you want it to be dope, but it ain't like that all the time. For me, I sell basketball shorts out the ass all year round, but it gets boring and monotonous, but they sell. But I have no fucking choice. This is what they like. This is my home run item. I have to keep doing it. But I want to mix it up a little bit, you know? And I do. But you have to put 70% into that and 30% into that, and it's very hard.
That took me a whole year to learn that, bro. You know,
the only way to learn, you're not learning that shit in school.
I was trying to give people what I wanted, strictly what I wanted the first year. Yeah. And you know, it resonated a little bit, but it wasn't until I started to like just recognize patterns. You know what I mean? Like everything that you would like to be is probably out there in the world in some type of way. You should probably study what they got going on and then apply some of that to what you got going on. Like too many people try to reinvent the wheel, bro. You know what I mean? Like if you had a show where you'd be like, fuck them basketball show. I got some shit in this notebook, right? But the basketball shorts, though, this is what we like. So it's like it's timing, it's preparation, opportunity. Like, well, how do I find the right time to keep this going because it's the money maker, and then I hit you with the crazy designs that I got. You know what I mean? Because a lot of
I don't think enough people realize, because when we talk about content creation, like everybody wants to do, they think it's just you just get on the mic, talk your shit, and you post it online, and it gets a million. Like people don't understand the behind the scenes that you got to do, the editing, the title, like you know what I mean, the clickbait title. Like it's so much you have to do behind the scenes that people don't understand. And I even congratulate you because you said this was what episode 51. Most people don't make it past episode 5. Like you know what I mean? Because they don't realize how much work it is then to post it out on all the social medias, the YouTubes, creating a thumbnail, creating a type. Like, it's a lot of work that I don't think people truly understand about.
Oh, they definitely don't understand.
I'm
still learning it myself.
Yeah. I've been making clothes for 10 years, bro. I'm still learning something every day.
Bro.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think I'm ever gonna stop.
No.
Some people get mad when new people start this shit. I get so happy because I'm like, oh, you get a taste of it. Because if you for real, you gonna last till episode 10, right? Like, if you for real, you are going to last till episode 10. But if you're not, we gonna find out. And then you get a taste of what this shit is.
What it's like. And I love when not to cut you off, but I love when brands pop, because I can only do it from a brand perspective, right? I love when brands pop up because I'm like, all right, we about to see what you about. Because in a year when you're not here and I still am, that works in my favor. You know what I'm saying?
And that's how I feel about the podcast space at large. Like, I can't wait. I feel Joe now when he be saying, I can't wait till y'all get the fuck up out of here. Like, I feel him on that now because y'all really clouding up the space, bro. You taking up the space. It's like, so many, like, a comment that I get a lot of time, and I'm sure you get it too, is like, you'll hear it's like women say like, oh, defund podcasts, or like, take the mics away, right? You know what I mean? Or like, Best Buy need to close the microphones. And it's like, that narrative is here because of so many people in the space not really doing it justice.
But they don't realize them even commenting them is helping you in the algorithm because then, you know what I mean?
Your engagement anyways.
But do you think that that's going away?
What?
Because every day there's a new podcast. There's a new pod popping up, right? Because the new 5 that come and go, they've come and go, right? But then the next 5 come up and the next 5 come up. Because there's always, every time I open up YouTube, something right? New, it's somebody new.
It's talking at the end of the day, right? It's more.
And everybody feel like they can just do that. Like, you know what I mean? But everybody talks every day. So
the barrier of entry for podcasting is so simple that it's always going to be flooded with saturation.
But you know what's the funniest part, right? I think a lot of it is being flooded. I think a lot of these podcasters aren't really good podcasters. I'm going to straight up, right?
You said, do you think they're good?
They're not good.
Oh, they trash.
No, but here's where, because it might be ego or they might enjoy it, right? They have the money to fuck off from another venture. They're not real podcasters, right? They just have a little bit of bread. They bought some mics and then they could put it together, right? They have a team. They don't have to do like the thing. I'm not mad at them
for trying either.
No, definitely not. If you feel it, do it.
Because they trying something. You know what I mean? Like, you seeking for something in your life and you're thinking that if I see you having a successful podcast and it's working for you, I see myself for you in some type of way. It's like, let me try that too.
He ain't doing nothing I can't do. Like,
man, let me tell you, this grind though, relentless.
But every day, 24/7,
shit.
Fucking leap year, bro. There ain't no fucking Christmas. There ain't no Easter. There ain't no Thanksgiving. There ain't no nothing. I'm waking up.
That's why you be seeing people get burnt out.
What do I gotta post right now? You know what I'm saying? It's a lot.
You hear creators a lot talking about how they get burnt out. You know what I mean? And they feel like, yo, I can't. I gotta take a break from this. Like, you know what I mean? So
you are going to get
maybe unnegotiably so.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because especially like, what type of release time are you on? Are you dropping every 2 weeks? Are you dropping once a week? Either way, like, you're gonna realize that the time to drop again is right around the corner. Right around the corner.
Bro, and like, people think it's just like I record, I drop, right? Yo, all of the little pieces. Maybe it could be that
simple for y'all. Maybe. For somebody.
For some people, I'm sure. They put it through a quick little AI. They get the virality score. They run that shit, right? That's it, right? Yeah. But for the rest of us that are, again.
Yeah, gang.
But what you were saying before, I think the balancing of the art and the business in that sense is important, right? Because I agree. Like, I always want, there's certain episodes that I want to put out for me.
Yeah.
Right? I think we were even talking earlier, right? I was like, yo, if I put out 5 episodes that I want to put out just for me, I'd be content.
Yeah.
But the business might not, because I have a responsibility to who I talk to, the diversity of who I talk, like a lot of shit.
The who are you talking to?
I think, you know, I'm very fearful of AI. Like, you know what I mean? As much as it could be helpful, I start thinking about these sci-fi movies, and I'm like, yo, they're gonna realize we the problem at some point. But I think what's going to happen, especially in the content creation space, is you're even seeing some companies starting to put AI into it. So now you could just type in the story that you want to hear, and it would generate the video, the audio, all of this stuff. So it's going to take away the human aspect, because people could just type in like, oh, I just want a sci-fi movie about this, and it would generate it from scratch.
But I'll tell you this, when I was talking to Lilo from Bronx Tale, and we were talking about how he likes writing more than he likes acting now, right? And we were talking about how, like, if he were to write a movie about his experience, and then I was to try to write a movie after hearing his experience, his is going to be 37 million times better. It's going to be way more authentic. You're going to feel it more in the writing. So I'm scared of AI because I know that AI could pump out graphic designs all day. But I know that if I hit up my graphic designer and he ones that I really respect that could hop into my brain, get what I want and take it out, AI is never going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
It's never going to be able to get the same feel as it. You know what I'm saying?
It's exactly what John said before, though, right? It's the realness and authenticity.
Yeah.
Even now, right? Like we look at, there's digitally animated shit, right? But we still go to the shit that still feels real to us.
Yeah. Always will.
And
Always
I think my opinion, I think there's going to be like a counterculture to that whole like, hey, this was created by AI art. Because we like having the human element.
Yeah.
Like, think about why sports is so huge.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't matter. Like, it's because of the narrative. It's like, yo, we can see ourselves in this person.
Right.
The greatness of this person or the pain of this person or whatever of this person.
Right.
I see myself in that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's what really, like, AI is never going to be able to get that.
I think AI is going to do everything that you're scared of AI doing. It's going to do that. It
Yeah.
just is. But I think
No, it is. No, you're 100% right.
It's one software update from doing everything you just said.
You know what I mean? But like, the
Like-
way I look at it, like, so my dad lived in the Midwest, right? So anytime I go see him, Midwest is like super dialed back, super slow. And one thing you'll notice in like rural towns and areas like this is they say family-owned business in some of the restaurants. I think that's the future of the world. You know, it's like people are gonna start having to like wave the flag, human-owned business, and that's what it's gonna take. And some people gonna stand on that.
Yeah, 100%.
To some people, that's gonna mean
they got
something to me.
3D printed food restaurants now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Everything you think
Like-
gonna happen is going. everything outside of Skynet, hopefully, in the Matrix.
Went to a McDonald's in Italy. There ain't nobody ordering. Like, you're not
No.
ordering
You
with
got the
somebody.
touchscreen kiosk
Nice.
and everything.
You know,
yeah.
where that's
Crazy.
it.
Is
Crazy.
But I think the interesting point there, though, is that even there, you're still looking for the real,
Always, hopefully. Yeah.
that family-owned business. Because I think think about it. That's why new podcasters are able to be reintroduced. Because eventually we get tired of our like legends. They're no longer relatable.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like the person who's in the trenches right now listening to this is gonna get much more out of this than they are like a Joe Budden where he's talking about a Spotify deal that's like a 60M deal.
Can I real quick? Because I fuck with what you're saying so much. This is Nipsey line that I love that just goes perfect with what you're saying. He said, we connected at the bottom like the letter V. And I love that line from him so much because it's like when the niggas at the top get unrelatable, we connecting we doing it right now.
Yeah.
We connecting at the bottom. You know what I mean? It's like we're not trying to go vertical and get somebody with like 100 million followers or something like that.
That made me think of Drake now because I was listening to one of his verses and he just talking all this rich shit. Like, and I'm like, bro, I don't know what the Smithsonian is. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like.
You think there's an artist that was able to transcend that, is still relatable while being a billionaire? I still like listening to Hove.
Yeah, right.
I love listening to Hove. I love Hove getting those crack bars off still, and I know that motherfucker ain't around no crack no more. You know what I'm saying? But I still love to listen to it.
But I think
who's
it's like
able to do it.
The experience transcends, though, right?
He also
You
talking
know-
about buying Basquiat's and shit.
Hov
Hov lost us for a minute though. He lost a lot of people. Like Magna Carta,
Magna
a lot
Carta.
of people was dissociated from that.
Right.
album.
Yeah.
I was with it though.
I was with it too.
I was with it, but a lot of people was like,
But again, the cool thing about Hove, right, and probably why we still like fuck with the music, right, is because connected at the bottom, right? You see Hove's entire journey.
Yes.
Like when you think, like, there's that outro for a Hove record where B is like, yo, he's like the real like American dream, and I think for like a lot of us that like came up around that time, like it really is that.
Yeah, for sure.
Right up the street. Like
I think that was Eminem's problem.
Mhm.
Eminem couldn't transcend time enough to still be relatable. The shit that he was doing in 2003. Right? I liked his last album that he just dropped, but like you still could, like he just wasn't able to. A lot of people don't put him at the top no more because you have to still be relatable when you're 40 or 40, however old he is. And Hove always did that. Nas didn't really do it. Right? He kind of did it, but not, I don't know, bro. It's hard. It's hard. I see Drake still do it because I'm a big Drake guy.
Drake's probably one of the best
at
prospects
it.
to do it so far.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
because Drake is like, even now in his richness, you're just like, honestly, if
come
you're
on, man.
if I
Come
was
on,
Drake,
man.
this is the shit that I would be doing.
Yeah. Come on, man.
Like,
You know what I
yo,
mean? Like,
I talk about how like everybody's obviously like, yo, how petty Drake is.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, give me a B. See what I do with that shit. Like,
worth that much money in a great space every day, I'll be getting bars off all day. Bro. You know what I'm saying?
I think sometimes, you know, just to kind of go back because I just thought about something. So, you know, when I first started the podcast with my crew, you know, one of the things that was for us is like, you know, we was raw and uncut and unfiltered. you know, once you start climbing up that corporate, you know what I mean? Not the corporate, but just that level.
Clean the image of
you
the
gotta,
brand.
you can't be as unfiltered because now you're jeopardizing the brand deals. And now sometimes I even feel like, man, I gotta hold myself back because I can't say certain things the way I want to. Like, you know what I mean? So
can I add on top of that?
Good point.
The people who own this studio, like Weezy owns the studio. Weezy is part of a big sex education podcast called Horrible. Horrible Decisions is going into the new year, dropping the name Horrible. They just gonna call it like WD or some shit like that. Because Horrible, spelled WHORE, has been getting in the way of them getting brands. And they're a huge podcast.
Bro, think about it. That
still applies.
And that's on a large scale, but that probably applies to all of us.
It does.
You know what I'm saying? Based off of like how you, like I think about it all I'm from, obviously, like y'all know a little bit of the background of this podcast, like a little bit more like South Asian. Like that's just my demo, right? But because of that, like South Asian's a little bit, you know, a little bit more conservative, right? Obviously, I'm South Asian, but like the way that I grew up, like I have a certain like the way I talk, whatever, right? And I was like, yo, for South Asian advertisers, I probably am not the best conducive for business.
Right.
So how does that make you feel? You think you want to switch up something at some point?
No, I think I just align with the people that align with me.
Yes, well, that's this whole pod right now,
right? Like I just align with the people that align with me, because there are South Asian people that do fuck with this.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Right? Like they see something, and because I'll get hit up by like my OGs, and they're like, "Yo, in your head, who do you think that you're competing against?" And I was like, "Oh, like this person, this person, this person." And they're like, "Yo, we don't pay attention to those people."
Yeah, you're not competing with nobody that I know of.
No,
but again, in my head, I see, because like I'm like, oh, you're getting this brand deal from this South Asian company, you're getting this brand deal from this South Asian company. How come they not hitting me? And then I'm like, oh, because the traditional South Asian company might be more familiar with your brand, but that's not my people's.
Yeah.
That's where I gotta.
That's interesting to me though, because like you kind of speaking to like you being South Asian, but like you got your bop from like where you lived in New York for a long time.
Yeah.
So like you get your culture, right?
Yeah.
Hip hop adjacent culture. But it's like all South Asian people, for the most part, got some of that sazon on their swag, though. So it's like it's weird for me to hear you say that they might not.
Again, the ones that you probably interact with being from where we are. But if I think about like South Asian, South Asian culture for the most part in the West, a lot of it is influenced like by like a Bollywood, right? Much more traditional, right? And like those are still like a big advertising dollars here, because they're obviously trying to get like all the South Asians in this market. But in that, it's like, yo, they might be slow on me because
somebody
it's
like you, right?
I get it. Not if you're from New York, if you have like a New York South Asian brand, then like usually those are like my OGs, right?
Right.
But it's like that's only a certain part, and for the most part, we still building out. Right. But making your But to what John was saying, right? I think the only thing you can say like, yo, I'm going to clean this up, which at some point at Horrible, like, yo, the money is so worth it. It's like, you clean it up. You clean it up.
Absolutely.
And your demographic is still
That's an incredible name. I mean, that's probably a big reason for their success early on, the name.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
You brand the shit out of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
but again, they've gotten to a point where it's like, yo, whatever they're getting offered is definitely worth, yo, just drop it, right?
Like, even when you look in like to the red pill space, like you got people with crazy amount of followers, but you don't see them with advertising because these advertisers like, nah,
staying away.
We see the number, I got the numbers, but like that's not good for my business. Like, let me just stay away from that.
Absolutely.
Like, you know what I mean?
It's always a risk, right? You're putting your brand next to this person's face every time. Imagine they say something. Right? And now your brand is like, the headline is going to be thing, sponsored by XYZ company.
Yeah, that shit happens at the top too, because like I watch some of Joe Rogan's stand-up sometimes, right?
Come on, hey.
And Joe Rogan is what? Right-wing conservative,
you be beating me to the point,
that motherfucker will go on stage and he will lean left sometimes.
He will crash out,
You know what I'm saying? Just because he probably thinks like, oh shit, and I get it. He wants to appeal to both sides, but it's just that point, you know. It happens at the top. So why do you think it's not going to happen in the middle or at the bottom?
In Joe Rogan's case, is like so interesting because he has like the ultimate case of leverage. Because even like somebody sequenced that video of him saying the N-word a bunch of times. Like usually anybody, they would have been like, yeah, we gonna back all the way back. But Spotify stayed with him the whole time. That's crazy.
I mean, they did commit so much money to him.
But
for sure.
And also back to like leverage, right? Like with who Joe knows in
Right.
industry,
Yeah. Oh, for
right?
sure.
Like,
For sure.
who his black friends are.
For sure. For sure.
Like, who his black friends are.
For sure.
He's like, good. You know what I'm
Even
saying?
as a fan, as a consumer, like
Did it turn you off?
like it's never gonna make me feel like just like I'm never gonna shrug it off to see a white man say it, but it's like he's a comedian though.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's like stylistically, I don't gotta agree with everything he do as an artist. Him as the person, he valid with me. You know what I mean. So that's more leverage though.
Yeah.
Again, there's so many different. We've talked about it in the monetary sense. There's also like emotional leverage that you have with people,
Shit.
right?
Yes.
Like that's essentially what we're all talking
Exactly.
about.
That's what I'm saying.
That might be the biggest leverage of it
That's
all.
the biggest
Emotional
leverage.
You know how you
You
making people feel. We talk about this the whole time.
Yeah.
You know
You
what I mean?
said you resonate with people the most when you're like transparent with them. It's like that's the invisible cord that we trying to tether between us and them. It's like emotions, bro.
But the comedians hide behind the fact that they're comedians. They think they can say whatever the fuck they want on stage, and they can. I guess comedy has always been that gray area. No matter what the fuck you going on there and say, you can say some wild shit.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Eddie Murphy was the bro. Eddie
Insane.
Murphy's best fucking clip ever was him making fun of Italians in the Rocky, and it was the fun. It's the most amazing shit I've ever seen in my life. It's first, you know what I'm saying? And like they just skate that gray area, and Joe Rogan does that.
Right. He does that.
Chappelle does that.
Chappelle
always
does
fuck.
that.
Period.
Yeah.
You can't cancel Chappelle because Chappelle literally said, "You can't cancel me. I don't care about you."
And it's
You know
like,
what I mean? Like
people can only get canceled when somebody is backing you. Like you think about like the DaBaby situation where he said what he said. He literally had to go on ice after that because people was backing him. But when Boosie was saying the wild shit that he was saying, he never stopped talking. You know why? Because I pay myself.
Back to the independent talk, right? You can't get rid of me.
Come on, bro.
Right? Like
Come on, bro.
because I've proved. Joe said this today, right? The person who has the power at the deal is the person who's willing to walk away.
Come
right?
on.
The Alex Cooper, and you know why they're able to extract these deals is because of that. Yo, I have real equity. I could just leave and I'll still be good.
Still be good. Come
Right?
on.
Yeah, and that's why it's important to, you know, it takes a long time, but to really build a organic audience, you know what I mean? That's what's going to really matter. Like these people that's just going viral, maybe getting whatever the case is, it's not sustainable. Like, you know, or now they have to crash out every other freaking episode just to get people to tune in. Like they don't really care about your personality.
Bro, that's like
personality is a big thing
Boys,
too. Like, you know?
That's the entire streamer market.
the
They're all
Island
just trying
Boys
to.
were making out with each other. Remember that? They're two brothers. Like, yo, you know, think about that. Just crashing out just to get views, but just strictly to get.
But again, how you build it is how you have to live on it. Because you got to keep it going, right?
Yeah.
How you build it is how you have to live on it. Like you have to really stand in your shit. Because all of these advertisers now, like it's like, yo, whatever you say. Because I always say, like, I know exactly what I need to say here to get this viral. We all do. We all do. Like we know exactly what we need to say to make our shit viral.
Right.
Like realistically, like I know exactly what would do it. But it's like, why? I have to live on that.
Yeah, for sure.
You have to live on.
You gotta sleep in it.
And that's where like people's reality of like the internet and themselves have completely detached, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, yo, you got to know that, like, yo, you might be a celebrity on the internet, but people got to fuck with the real person.
Right. Yeah. And you can't sell, like people say all the time, you get a podcast, you get a certain amount of followers, you think you're just gonna go and sell tickets? Not necessarily. Like everybody don't got that type of pull. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so
People have tried. It failed.
It's easy to click the subscribe button, but it's harder to get in the car, the train, go travel a half hour to go sit down for an hour and watch you, bro.
Or it's easy to get people off one platform onto another platform. Like
Yeah.
if people have
God.
YouTube, like you know how many people tell me, "Oh, I don't got Patreon," and I don't blame them. You're gonna make a whole new account to go on another platform that you might rarely be on.
To spend money on that I wasn't spending on
like,
YouTube.
you could just-
I wouldn't spend no money on
it's
YouTube.
tough.
I got to
That's
spend $10 on Patreon.
That's a tough
I get it
style,
for sure.
like,
I get it. That's why I respect
You
Joe
can't
Budden
even
Pod.
You can't even do shit for free. If you told somebody like, yo, sign up for this, it's free.
Yo, stepping outside of New York,
Bro.
Subscribing is
$10.
the freest thing you can do to
Make this
support
account.
somebody, and people still struggle.
No.
I think that's one of the things too. As you know, now that I am a content creator, I start to treat everything like I'm a consumer. So if I'm watching a video,
Same.
why did I click on that video? Oh,
Reverse
the
engineer
the title
everything.
got me, or the thumbnail got me. Now I start to look at everything as a consumer. Like what made me click on that? What made me watch this video for whatever the case
That's
is?
good game.
And then I start to apply that to my content
That's good
creation.
game.
You know
But
what
that's
I mean?
like you never stop working then when you think about it, right?
Oh, you
When
never
you're
do.
reverse engineering basically your life, I tell people all the time, when I'm watching a movie, right, and I make clothes and I'm on a pod, like I want to make movies one day, but when I'm watching a movie, if I'm getting inspired from that movie, if I'm driving and I see typography on a sign,
And it do
I'm
something
in work
for you.
mode. It
Yeah,
do
yeah,
something to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sending out voice notes at 2 a.m. to people like, yo, in the morning, hit me back because I don't want to lose this thought right now. And I know it's just a little crazy, but I'm in work mode and I'm driving back from Long Island at 3 a.m. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's bittersweet, bro.
Yo,
Really in it.
my friends
Really
are
in it.
my friends are always like, yo, like if we like are working in the same area, they're like, "Yo, bro, you're always on your phone. Like, you sure?" And I'm like, "Dog, come on. What do you think I do?"
Come on, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I had to have that conversation with my girl the other day, right? Because she's like, I'm like, "Yo, I know it feels like I'm just scrolling, or it feels like I'm studying
Yeah.
every second."
Yeah.
Right? If I'm watching like the Joe Budden podcast, I'm telling you, it's not for my entertainment.
This ain't just.
It's not for my entertainment.
Yeah.
I you don't think this is like game tape? Like today, what did I do? Right? Like if my roommates saw me, they were like, "Yo,"
Yeah.
they're like, "Yo, homeboy woke up, went to the gym, sat down, watched the like 30,
he didn't
watched
do
an
nothing
hour
today.
of the Joe Budden pod, and then he got ready for his pod."
Yeah.
It'd be like, "Oh, he just fucked off all day."
Yeah.
Nah.
That's even how I make my clips now. I'll be on TikTok all the time, and one is just for content reason, and other is just to like, oh, why did I go viral? I this, that, that. Now I start to see people now in order to keep people's attention span. Now they got the half video, the half on top, and then the half of just some random GTA ramp shit. And I find myself watching those videos because I'm watching the bottom half while listening to the top, and I'm seeing people engineer things to keep people's attention
doing it
that
in
way they
captions,
could get
That's there's a real technical term for that. I don't know it, right? But I'm sure like there's a real technical term for that, like where you're supposed to keep it simultaneous. There's real me and Ron were talking about. There's a real psychology to all of this, right? And but I think like the part that I'm really trying to balance is the balance of the consumer aspect, but also what resonates to somebody who's not in I'm studying this mode. But I have to ask my friends and heat check things.
Yeah.
Like, yo, why are you fucking with that?
Oh yeah.
Because sometimes I be looking at shit from like, oh, like the art form, right? Like even like the people that I like fuck with, right? I'm all like, oh, it's something about it. But I'm also coming in from like a lover of the art form. What's the casual gonna get?
I ask those questions all the time. All the time.
I ask it with style a lot because I could send like, okay, like Joe Budden just dropped one, right? ALD just dropped their fall collection today. Kid did it the other day. That content's coming out. I'm waking up, it's the first thing that's on my mind. I'm sending out pieces to my boys. If he's got a different, he dresses like a white frat kid, but he dresses like he's from the hood.
Right.
I'm gonna send him something. If he don't like it, and I do like it, I know I'm on point.
Right.
But if he don't like it, I might question myself a little bit. Be like, damn. We kind of dress the same, or music is the same. Like, did you like this song? Because I did, but you didn't like it. All right, maybe I got to take a step back. But if he didn't like it, I know that we're not on the same wave. I know I'm on the same wave. So the people that don't like it are just as important as the people that do like it, depending on who. That's why I tell people the 50-50 rule. 50% of the people are going to like what you do. 50% of the people are not going to like what you do. It's just like politics, left and right. They're both important.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because they let you know that stick right in the dead middle.
The right is going to agree with you, but then the left is going to disagree with you. But they're also
But why are they disagreeing?
They're also
with you?
talking about, they're promoting you at the same time.
Well,
now they're on
too.
every talk show talking about you.
Yeah,
like that's still putting you out there. Like, you know what I mean?
Social media is great in that way. Like it's a double-edged sword. Like even if they baking me in the comments, which often happens, you know what I mean? But it's like it's getting.
That got us laughing.
Throw that shit in there real quick. That shit happens all the time.
It
By the
happens
way.
all the time. They be killing, literally be killing. I be reading this shit like, oh my god.
But it's the relationship TikToks and shit that like that.
True.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like the point that he make it gets you into the algorithm.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah,
it gets
that's
you
the
out
most
of your
important part.
6 degree of separation into like bigger fields. So.
Yeah.
And to ALD, something really interesting to me that they just did. They just had a rapper style one of their latest, whatever they promoting, a rapper named Makami. Which Makami is somebody that like anybody who trying to sell something should study this man because he's the only rapper that I know of that's selling vinyls and cassettes for like $1,000 a pop and selling them out on his website.
That's dope.
You know what I mean? Amazing.
Is it custom vinyls or something like that?
It's just like his shit. Like you can't buy his shit nowhere else.
Oh, so you got to buy the vinyl, like
straight from him.
You don't got it on streaming platform. You can't buy the CD.
Oh, wow.
Like you can stream it as of now. He just allowed people to stream his shit as of like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But-
people still buying vinyls though. People like physical media still.
Well,
like,
everything
you know?
circles back. I feel
Yeah.
no matter what, everything.
So
circles
it's
back.
niche shit, you know, like to hold something. Like everything is about streaming. Like I don't even want to stream shit no more. Like I want to go back to buying shit. Like I want to listen to an album, see what songs I like of it, buy all those songs. If not, buy the whole album, delete the songs that I don't like. Instead of just streaming it, like I want to own shit again, bro.
Yeah.
And that same reverse engineering once again, right? Because for every part, for me, there's another 1,000 people just like me. How do I find the other versions of me and reverse engineer the situation? You know what I mean? Like, how can I get people to buy my merch based off of the brand?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not how dope the shirt is. Like, I met a dude the other day. And I was wearing one of my shirts, and he kind of looked at it and did one of them fashion things. Like, yeah, your shirt's all right. These shirts can be all right. You know what I mean? But people are gonna buy it because of the words that it's attached to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
well,
about
The
that.
biggest mistake that I made was fucking just making content from the At War perspective was making content that was geared directly towards shoving product down your throat. Now instead, and anybody that has a brand that's listening to this, you're about to get a gem because now it's storytelling. So now next week, I'm filming a 90-second commercial. Well, I might not even wear anything at War in it, but I promise you I'm going to run Edge 2 at War from it because I am the brand. I wear it on my skin. I don't need to be wearing that shit all the time. So I'm making content gets geared directly towards me and telling my South Brooklyn story instead of saying, hey, here's the shorts, go buy them real quick, give you 10% off. Now I want to make you feel something. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's important.
That's all the time. Like people always ask, like, yo, like my family even asks, they'd be like, yo, like you way too transparent about the business things, your personal business things on the pod. Yeah. And I'm like, but that's who I'm trying to hit.
Yeah.
Like the people that are like feeling the same exact things, right? Like I need y'all to know that, yo, like I'm stressed and I'm tired, right? Like I need y'all to know that, like, yo, I just got laid off and I'm making the shit happen, right? Because like that's who I'm.
That might have been one of your best episodes, to be honest with you. When that shit happened and I saw those clips and we had just started chopping it, I remember, and then I saw it and I'm like, you know what I mean?
That's and important. You know, a lot of my people, again, the people who are my friends that don't listen, hit me and said that. Yeah. And I had to reverse engineer that until
I'm sure it was kind of hard to be like, fuck, I gotta sit down right now and talk about how I just lost my
job. Bro,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
yo, I'm fighting for that episode.
Yeah.
With people in my corner, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm fighting with people for that episode. Like, are you sure?
Yeah.
And I'm like, not even thinking twice.
I'm like, yeah, like, yo, think about it. Like, I got laid off. 30 minutes later, a podcast was booked for the next day. Yeah. Because I think about like the people that I watched ascend. The reason I have Joe Budden will always have social equity with me because I got to see the star rise.
And the down. Yeah.
Now it's like, yo, like again, like I might listen, but I got to see the star rise. Him talking about losing a Spotify deal and then gaining whatever deal, right? Then getting on Patreon and then seeing him run it up, right? I got to see the journey. So whatever he pushes, whether it's his product, whatever, I gotta listen.
Surprisingly, I think that's what people are gonna, this whole Drake situation, I think because Drake was he was at the top, and now we seen that, oh, he's human. He's coming back down. People are waiting for him to rise back up to the top. And so I think when he dropped more music in, people are waiting for him to, you know what I mean? They know he's not gonna stay down.
This drop might have worked in his favor.
Yeah, honestly.
I do hope
he might drop some shit.
I think for Drake to get that though, the re-raise has to be, again, like the 100 gigs definitely does it, humanizes him, reminds you. But how do you keep that going into your 40s and 50s? You got to own the narrative, right? Like you have to truly, transparently talk about it. Yeah. Because it can't just be, yo, I got slashed for you. That is over, right? Because he has to now re-document the journey back up to
what is his motivation now? Like he broke all the records. You got every record. Like for him, he has to probably reconcile with that. Like, what is my motivation to continue making this music? I already did everything I could possibly do.
What's interesting about that is that before Joe Budden did the pods, I was the biggest rapper Joe Budden fan ever, bro. Like,
He's so cold, bro.
I seen Joe Budden 3 times live. Like I've met him, I've cried to him, like, yo, what you've done for me, and
he's so cold, bro.
And when the reason why he stopped making music, ironically, is because he was in a good place. He only made great fucking music when he was like really low, doing drugs, heartbroken, whatever the fuck.
That Ordinary Love,
bro. Before that, the mood music, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5, like, you know what I mean. And when he got into a better place and he wasn't making music no more, or just wasn't good. I mean, I still liked it, but it just wasn't good anymore. He went to the pod space. Yeah. And the pod space, he kind of applied the same thing to it. He was just super transparent about everything, even the shit that happened with Rory and all them. Like, bro, on the outside looking in, I'm thought, wow, Joe always has been a dick. Right? I don't think he could snap out of this. I think everybody's like, nah, this guy's just been a dick forever. He's fucking everybody.
But it's crazy how much we care about the narrative.
Yeah.
Like,
could I go back to the authenticity?
You build such a social equity with people, they care about the narrative. Like, that's essentially what, like, when people talk about celebrity, that's really what it is. You're getting regular people to really believe in, like, who that is, right? Like, when Joe came on, lost the Spotify deal, talked about losing the Spotify deal, right? Got fired from Complex and then came, like...
Oh, I forgot he was on
Complex. And talked about it very openly, right? Yeah. But that's exactly the same reason that everybody still who is this fan, because a lot of them probably came from where you came from.
Yeah, for sure.
Fan of the music, whatever he does, I'm invested in the character. Again, if Alice Cooper is on Spotify, I'm invested in the person. Wherever she goes, I'm there.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how part of the leverage. That's part of the leverage. Like, you know what I mean? I know I could bring this demographic, whatever platform I go to, they're gonna ride with me. So, and that's why it's important to build that up organically. Like.
Yeah, I think it's the moral of the story, man. Like, whatever you're doing, don't skip the important legwork, bro. Like, find your people, feed your people, grow them one by one, and then utilize them when it's time.
Some people had an elevator. I had to take the stairs.
Come on,
Come
on.
We got stronger taking the stairs.
I got
stronger,
bro.
hopping in an elevator, waiting and getting off. Bro.
Take the stairs, bro. Like I like
You might
think
get
about.
stuck in that elevator too. So.
You know what I'm saying? Never get stuck on the stairs.
Yeah, no, you can always come down.
Always come
back
down,
up. Right?
down,
The elevator
man.
comes down.
Come on, man.
If the elevator comes down, you're not
They don't
coming
even got
back
the,
up.
they don't even got
bro.
the skate lap no more. Like you can't even like escape
Bro,
out that motherfucker.
That
like.
slow growth is so much better. We were just talking about it again. The Lilo Brancato, from the Bronx Tale. He started out at the top. He talks about how that was his detriment.
Yeah.
Imagine that. The guy was in Robert De Niro's directorial debut, one of the biggest Italian, that move, 90s to early 2000s movie of all time.
Yes.
And you started out there, and and now looking back on it, he's complaining about it a little bit. He's like, I wish I would have, you know what I'm saying? I started out right here, I fell off.
Is that
I peaked
episode
right
out?
away. Yeah, it just dropped.
That
It's
episode
long.
out?
Yeah, it just dropped.
Let people know where they can find that at.
The Journey podcast on YouTube.
Yeah, y'all need to
Sure, I
go see that because I know I am.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Journey.
Yeah.
You want everyone want to do the Ask Journey halfway up?
Yeah, man. Wolf Taylor, you can find me at the Halfway Up Podcast, Spotify, Apple, all that good shit. Connect with me on the gram, though. That's where I'm resonating with people the best.
Yeah,
that's that on that.
And y'all can follow me on I got a podcast, Daily Wrap Up Crew, and my personal Instagram on TheRealWhyEli, man. Y'all gonna understand why they call me Why Eli. Just tune into the clip.
Bro went crazy viral, bro. He earned that. He earned that name.
Oh, really?
Yes.
All right, we gotta get the story out.
Somebody gave you that name.
Wait till you see it. Just see it. Wait till you see it.
It was one of those. Like, you know how when people get nicknames, like that one is like an organic.
No, he
nickname.
went
It just
crazy
happened.
viral.
Like, you know what
He
I mean?
went
Like,
crazy viral.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yo, appreciate you for having me, man.
Yeah, me too.
Yo,
for
appreciate
real.
y'all doing this.
Great
I
episode.
I said it at the top, but I'm gonna say it again. Like, really appreciated y'all in the space, right? Like I said, I needed this episode, and it was. I said that at the beginning, but now I can say it at the end. Like, I needed this episode too, right? Yo, appreciate y'all, fellas. Peace.
Bro.
Peace.
Bang. Nah, that was great.
Good shit, gang.
Yes, sir.
Fire.
Oh, man, good to meet you.